I've been noticing something lately, and I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like all the men are gone. Not like literally gone, but you know what I mean. Let me explain. So I've been going to the gym, right? The same gym that I've been going to for a while now. And, I look around and there's plenty of guys there, like heaps. But I don't see any men. And I know that sounds weird. Like, what's the difference, right? But there is a difference. There's a big difference. See, back in the day, and I'm not even talking like that long ago, like say 5, maybe 10 years ago, you'd walk into a gym and there'd be presence, you know? Guys making eye contact, nodding at each other. You done with that, bro? Yeah, mate, all yours. Just interaction. And now, everyone's just got headphones in. Eyes down, nobody talks. Nobody even looks at each other. And I get it, right? Like I wear headphones too sometimes. I'm not trying to make friends with every person every time I train. It's just you get in, get your shit done. But I don't know, it's different now. It just feels like everyone's trying to be invisible. And it's not just the gym. You see, I notice it everywhere. I was actually at the shopping centre the other day, just, getting some stuff. And I'm walking around and I see a group of guys like mates hanging out together. And they're all just on their phones, standing in a circle, just on their phones, all on their phones. Not talking, not laughing, just scrolling. And I'm thinking like, what happened? When did we all just stop interacting? Or like, restaurants, cafes, you see couples sitting across from each other, just both on their phones. You see groups of blokes at a pub, all on their phones. And I don't know if it's just me, maybe I'm just getting old and I'm remembering things wrong, but I specifically remember a time, where people were present, you know? Like actually there, actually just talking to each other. And now it's like, well, everyone's physically there, but they're somewhere else. And, here's what really got me thinking about this. I tried, I tried talking to a few guys at the gym the other day, just casual stuff like, oh, you done with that bench, bro? Or, massive session today, eh? And the way they looked at me, it was like I was speaking in a different language. Like they were surprised someone was talking to them. And not in a good way, like uncomfortable. Like I was interrupting something. And I'm thinking, when did talking to someone become weird? When did just basic interaction become this uncomfortable thing? And I've been thinking about this a lot lately because I look around me, I look around everywhere and I just see guys everywhere. I don't see men. I see guys who are passive, quiet, trying not to be noticed, just staying under the radar. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is just how things are now. But I remember a time where men took up space, not in an obnoxious way, just they were there, they were present. They'd start conversations with strangers, they'd make eye contact, they'd laugh loud, they'd exist. And now it's like everyone's just trying to shrink, everyone's just in their own bubble, just trying to be invisible, trying not to bother anyone. And I think it's because being a man has become uncomfortable. Like approaching someone, uncomfortable. Making conversation with a stranger, uncomfortable. Taking up space, that's toxic now, right? So guys have just retreated. They've gone back into their shells, into their phones, into their headphones, into their own bubbles. And we've created this world where being passive is the default, where not approaching is normal, where men just wait for things to happen to them instead of making things happen for them. And look, I'm not trying to sound like some old guy complaining about these You know, oh, kids these days. I'm not trying to do that or anything. I'm 33. Yeah, I'm not that old. But even in my lifetime, I've seen this shift. You know, I've seen men go from present and engaged to just passive and invisible. And I don't think it's just the phones. I think it's deeper than that. I think society has made it so uncomfortable to be a man that a lot of guys have just given up. They stopped approaching women because they're scared of getting rejected or shamed. You know, they've stopped talking to strangers because they're scared of looking weird. They've stopped taking up space because they're scared of being labeled toxic. So they just exist quietly and they hope, you know, something good happens to them. And you know the worst part? I don't even think most guys realize they're doing it. Like they think this is just how things are now, but it's not. Now, this is what happens when an entire generation of men chooses comfort over growth. This is what happens when they choose safety over risk, when they choose the phone over the person standing right next to them. Like, I rebuilt myself 3, 4 times now, right? And every time, part of that rebuild was learning to be present, to take up the space, to approach, to initiate. But this time, I don't know, this rebuild feels different. Not because the work is different, but because there's no one else doing it. You know, like I look around for other guys who are present, who are engaged, who are leading, and they're just not there. You know, everyone's on their phone, everyone's passive, everyone's just waiting. And I'm thinking, where did all the men go? Because I even remember, right? Because I remember even just 10 years ago, you know, you'd go out, there'd be guys who would just start conversations at the pub, at the gym, at the park. Strangers would talk to each other, and yeah, sometimes it was awkward, you know, sometimes it went nowhere, but at least people were trying. At least people were present. And now, nobody tries. Nobody risks. Everyone's just trying to stay safe. Nobody wants to be uncomfortable. So we all just stand around in the same space, completely isolated. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is just me. Maybe the men are still out there and I'm just not seeing them. Well, I don't think so. I think we've created a culture where, you know, being passive is easier than being present. Where being invisible is safer than taking up space. Where, you know, scrolling is more comfortable than talking to the person next to you. And we've lost something. We've lost, I don't know, connection, presence, masculinity. I don't even know what to call it. But whatever it is, it's gone. And I'm not saying this to shame anyone. I'm not saying this because, you know, I'm not trying to point the finger or anything. I'm saying this because I see it. And I think you see it too. The men are gone, not physically, but energetically, socially, whatever you want to call it. We've all become so passive, so timid, so scared to take up space. And I don't know what happened. I don't know when it happened, but it happened. So here's my question for you, and I genuinely want to know. Have you noticed this? Or am I just getting old and remembering things wrong? Because I specifically remember a time when men were different, more present, more engaged, more willing to be uncomfortable. And now, I don't know what it is. I don't know what this is, but it's not that. Drop a comment. Tell me if you've noticed this. Tell me when you stopped approaching strangers, when you stopped making eye contact, when you started choosing the phone over real interaction. Because I guarantee it didn't happen overnight. It happened slowly, over time. And now here we are, surrounded by people, completely alone. And if you want to figure out which area you've gone passive in, whether it's body, mind, presence, or purpose, I've built a free pattern test. Again, it takes 2 minutes. Check the link in the description. It'll show you where to start. Because I think a lot of guys, right, they don't realize how passive they become until someone points it out. So, I'm pointing it out. The men are gone, and we need to bring them back. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.